Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday. It's not only a day of new beginnings, but it is the start. If you go by the moon, or how I forgot what I read about it. Because of the harvest moon that happened yesterday, it is marked on many of different calendars the beginning of a new time. It's the start of fall, the onset of the colding, the gradual chilling of the atmosphere, and the um, oh heck, I forgot. I really did. I had this all written, or not written down, but it was all in my mind, and um, due to a lot of things that need to be done today, I forgot some of the things I read. So forgive me. Um, But yeah, I've noticed that it's starting to get cooler. It's colder in the morning time when I go to work, so I need my hoodie. Um, it's still in the lower 80s in the afternoon, but that's a totally different change of weather and temperature compared to last week, where last week was still reaching the upper 80s, close to 90. Um, yeah, it's strange yet wonderful how the phases of the moon and the time of year could cause an overnight change in weather pattern. The last couple of days, we've had overnight rainstorms, which, granted, it rises the humidity level in the morning time, but that humidity does not take effect, or I don't feel it until the evening, towards the afternoon, evening time, when the sun has basically evaporated all the rainwater, which causes, basically, that's the cause of the humidity. Um, yesterday, yesterday I tried to do a lot of work in here. I got a good. I'm gonna low ball it to like 25% of what I wanted done. I have a couple boxes that I need to put in my car for Goodwill, like two boxes. I've got a bag of, I don't even know why Jerry decided to hold on to them, but I've got a bag of old cell phones that I need to take to T-Mobile, because they're T-Mobile brand cell phones, to have them refurbish and turn around and sell them for whatever price they want to stick on them. Um, I've got a few things that I should be doing, but they were slated for yesterday, but today things kind of went awry. Or not today, yesterday. I'm sorry. I gotta slow down. Um, I don't know if it's the V8 energy drink, the coffee, my breakfast, whatever, but I feel like I've got a lot of energy, just not a lot of, or not. Excuse me. My brain is going faster than my mouth. Um, so I'm having issues keeping up with my own thoughts. In fact, I put something on Facebook that said there should be a speed bump between my brain and my mouth. That's the way I feel today. I mean, I can't pinpoint why things are the way they are this morning. Well, maybe I can, maybe I can't. But get that out of the way, so hopefully I won't be thirsty while I'm talking. Maybe it's just my reaffirmment. How do you put it? Um, my reattachment. I don't know what to say, but I got it this morning and I was feeling a little, just a little not leery, just a little tired, a little out of it, not knowing what I'm gonna do besides laundry, because that always gets done on Sunday if it doesn't done on Saturday. And today I got to focus on it and make sure it's done, so I have uniforms for the week ahead. Tomorrow, Monday, it will be the only day I need to get off work early, because Jay has an appointment for her eye doctor, which is out of town. It's a good 30-minute drive to her appointment, and I think her appointment is like 2:45, 3 o'clock. So I got to be out of work as quickly as possible, and I will have to remind everybody about that. I don't know if they're going to let me close early so I can get everything cleaned up and done and get out, or if they're going to say go ahead and leave at 2 o'clock, and whatever's not done we'll come and do it for you. I don't know. I don't want to leave it like that, but I don't want certain people to be like, oh, you didn't close down properly, you just walked out at 2 o'clock. No, I told you earlier in the day I had to leave at 2 o'clock, no later. But anyhow, that's tomorrow. I'm going to worry about that tomorrow. But this morning I woke up and I was a little out of it, let's say. So I had my cup of coffee, my breakfast, and ended up having that V8 drink. And even before I drank the V8, I was feeling energized and just, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I have to do. If I feel like doing anything else other than laundry and spending time with Jerry, then so be it. That's exactly what I'll end up doing. Sorry. I get really, I guess it's a combination of the out of control energy and ADHD. But I have 2 Bible verses, and if I can slow myself down so I can get through these verses, maybe we'll have a good time here. But the first one is Psalms 23:4. And it says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now, I read this one this morning because that's the way I've been feeling lately. I've been feeling lately as if I'm going through a valley of unknown, uncertain, some uncertainties and whatnot. I'm going to get emotional this morning after reading that. Excuse me. But I think what's been going on for the last months, at least since Christmas time, because even before Christmas time, because of the uncertainty of what was going on with Jerry's health and the new situations that we had to deal with. Between Jerry wasn't here for Thanksgiving, she was still in the rehab center. There was a lot of uncertainties going on then, and when the doctors basically started telling her all this information about cancer and not being able to say how long or what could happen or any of the information that I kind of needed to feel a little bit more stable. Now, as time went by, things were became a little bit more stable, because we were getting into our routines and we were getting to understand the situation, and we were just like learning what we needed to learn to deal with the situation. And everything seemed to be going fine and dandy until all the issues with her skin and whatnot, due to the we're starting to think it was not the chemo but the immunotherapy. So her legs are healed up, so they're not like open. She's got one little spot on her left shoulder, and then her right shoulder, it looks like the Grand Canyon, a wide strip. We started calling it Long Island because it was long and wide. It's still the worst out of the two. And my biggest concern is if she starts doing immunotherapy, what is it going to do to her current open wounds, plus the ones that finally closed up? Are they going to split back open? Is the chemo going to start eating away at the flesh? There's a lot of uncertainties now that she's on round 2 of chemo with a different immunotherapy treatment. So there's a lot of uncertainties, and I didn't even get the chance to get out of the other uncertainties. Now I'm returning to newer uncertainties combined with the old uncertainties, and I just kind of went and yeah, that's when I started going down the wrong rabbit holes, or going too deep into the wrong rabbit hole, or whatever you want to call it. But you know, thanks to a number of my viewers here, thanks to a number of you. I don't know why I'm saying my viewers here, but yeah, I you know went through dark times, and I'm not totally out of the valley yet, but at least now that I'm back on the right track, I guess you'd say. Excuse me. I'm feeling a lot better, and that's probably one of the reasons why I feel so energized and you know ready to go, basically. And what I mean by that is ready to go do whatever needs to be done, whether it's more cleaning in here or just taking the day to relax, because everybody needs at least a day to relax while doing lightweight duty like laundry. I'm going to clean up some of the dishes from last night and today because my mom's not, it's not that she's not feeling good, it's just how do I put it without being too crucial, because it's not that critical. She's becoming like I used to be. I used to be like so ultra focused on what I wanted to do that I forgot to do some of the simple tasks. Like the only thing we never ask her to do anything, but she put it on herself to take care of the dishes. And when she doesn't take care of the dishes, I don't get mad. I get concerned because it's like, what's going on with mom? Is she losing her track? So I get worried about her. But other than that, everything seems to be hunky dory, and her health physically seems to be okay. It's her mental health that waxes and wanes. It comes and goes. The thing I can say though is at least her concentrating on doing her music and putting it onto her new computer and getting her lists made and fixed and situated and all that, it keeps her mind busy. It does keep her mentally busy, so she's not just laying or sitting around vegging out, so to speak. So that's good. But anyhow, the next passage I put down is from 1 Peter 5:10, and it says, "And the God of all grace, who call you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you firm and steadfast." I think that was a good one to do with what's been going on with me lately, because we all suffer in one way, shape, or form, physically, mentally, or spiritually. And I do believe that some of that suffering is used more as a teaching tool than punishment. And I think what it is while we're having those um, areas of suffering, or those moments, or however long it is of suffering, um, we get restored, we get renewed, we get back up on our feet, and back on the right, you know, path. And I think that's what's been going on here with me. Is I've been going through a lot of, you know, what did my friend call it? Not spiritual growth, but more like deeper understanding of the cosmos, or of his plan. Now I know I will never be able to see his plan in full. What I mean by that is I don't think we ever get to see the full picture of the plan. We just get guided towards what we need to do, or what we need to go through, to get part of the plan or part of the picture done. Um, I mean, there's a lot of things out there, especially in our modern day times, that take away our attention from the goal. Or we try to create our own goals, even though they're not the goals that he wants for us. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, um, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't understand. Um, it's one of those things. Um, it's like I have all these different interests in different areas of beliefs, or religions. I don't call them faiths. I call them religions, because to me, faith is, you know, to me, as a, how did one person put it, backsliding Christian. Um, to me, faith is in, like, I have a strong faith in God and Jesus from my upbringing. That's one of the many things that my father or my parents made sure of, that I had my roots deep in Jesus, and um, the rock of salvation, however you want to put it. But I have interests in different religions, not faiths, religions. I started out at a young age, in my 20s, doing, studies into Native American shamanism, because I had a family member who basically made me believe through her stories that we were connected to the Native American people. Now, I found out in the last 20 years, 10 years, that no, we don't have Native, according to Ancestry.com, that basically dissects your DNA. There's no Native American in me. I have Scots, Irish, British, German, Danish, Norwegian. There was one that was really, really small. I can't remember what it was. It was only like 2%. And it was a European nation, but I can't remember which one. So, I'm sorry. I don't have that information at hand to tell you every bits and pieces. I will say, though, that the larger proportion of it was in Britain, and taking that information and the maps and whatnot of where the Nordic people conquered in Britain, it runs right through Britain, catty-cornered along Hadrian's Wall and down towards Wales. And the British part of me is from those areas, so it's kind of like, okay. I mean, the history of Britain before it became UK um, is very interesting because the British, the island of Britain, or what they call Britain, have been conquered by the Romans, who nearly slaughtered all the native British people. Um, then it was conquered in part by Denmark and Norway and France over the centuries. And when Britain gained its independence, or basically became a whole, instead of being divided by all these other countries, they developed their language, which we now call the Queen's English, um, from the various different nations that conquered them throughout history, and they came up with their own language, which we now call the Queen's English, or at least that's what the Australians call it, the Queen's English. Um, at least I think that's what they call it. And then, of course, the language of the people that became America use mostly English to, make up their language, our language, basically. um, Even Canada, which was mostly French, have French Canadian. Um, that's mostly in Quebec, from what I understand. I don't know, you know, but history is what makes us. Um, I mean, I lived 3 years in Germany, so I already had my experience with Germanic lifestyle, or Germanic um, information, history, whatever you want to call it. And, well, my let's just put it this way: my mom's side of the family, which I know more about than my dad's side of the family, because tracing Henson and the origins of the Henson people, our name, is kind of difficult, because when Ellis Island got involved in the immigration of people from Europe, there were too many people coming out of Northern Europe with the same sounding name, so the spelling and the length changed, because there was Henson, there was Hanson, there was Henderson. Um, there's like 3 or 4 different forms of Henson, even though Henderson became somehow was, I don't know if that was a made up name here on Ellis Island or what, but it was just like, whoa, which family is your Henson family? Because we've got 50 different Hensons, and they're all spelled differently, or they're all from different parts of Europe, mostly Northern Europe. So, but my mom's side of the family, Apel, um, they were able to trace it easier, because my grandmother, which was McGoy, that was her. I think that was her maiden name, was Scots Irish, as well as British. And my grandfather, which was Apel, was a Germanic name. It was also found in England, because my grandfather's great grandfather, or somebody down the line, was from England. But I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry. DNA, lineage, and all that fun stuff has been an interesting part of my studies lately. But no, I think the suffering that we go through, sorry, I'm trying to get back on track. The suffering we go through can be anything from an illness, whether it's physical or mental. It could be a spiritual trial and tribulation to get back on the right track, or to understand the differences between who you are and who you're meant to be, as well as who you want to be. I think what you're meant to be and what you want to be, if they're combined just right, makes you who you are. Same with lineage. Beings that, since I know my mom's side of the family for sure. The rest of it has to be my father's side of the family. Even though my aunt or cousin or whoever she is down in Texas wants to sell a family tree book. She wants to sell it to family members for $50. I'm like, no, I'll find it out on my own. But I'm finding out half the stuff that she's talked about is like, yeah, go back to wherever and smoke that dope. Um, because she ain't got nothing on par. But again, I don't know because I don't have the book to read through. But the suffering we go through, I feel now that I've gone through it and can look back at it, even all the way back to my 20s with 50-year-old adult eyes, I can sit there and go, I'm wondering if all that stuff was just to make me realize that no matter what I study, no matter what I have a belief in, no matter what it is, um, one, I'm thankful it's always led back to Christianity. Two, they're stepping stones. They're learning blocks. There's areas to learn um, through the suffering and through the studies. Um, okay, yeah, Native American shamanism. I took to it because it was, as a lot of people call it, an earth-based religion. Basically, they believed that everything has a spirit, everything has energy, everything comes from the Great Spirit, which is their term for God. Um, it's an earth-based religion. They practice, the shamanism practices varying healing and very aspects of how to put the mind and body back in harmony with the earth. Now, as for their spirit or their soul, like Christians, it belongs to the earth, it returns to the earth. It's, no, that's the body. The soul returns to wherever it came from. Christians believe it goes back to heaven, to God, the whole line. A lot of what is called earth-based religions, which is like shamanism and Druidism and even Wicca, they're all considered earth-based because they believe that everything has a power or a gift or a usage for healing and all that stuff. I look at it like it came from God. It's got to be usable in some way, shape, or form, whether it's healing, whether it's mostly medicinal purposes. I don't look at it as, oh yeah, I need to pay homage or pray to what do most people call the earth deity, Gaia, or whatever. No, I don't go that far. I'm like, if I use it for healing purposes or medicinal purposes, I thank God for the gift of the herbs and materials that are used for healing purposes. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these herbal teas that we drink have medicinal purposes and they come from plants of the earth. Those are gifts from God. Our very existence is a gift from God. Our very breath is a gift from God. I mean, literally every concept of natural life. And I don't mean digital technology because that was a man-made creation. The fibers or materials that are not natural that come into usage for building homes or office buildings or the construction they're doing at the college. All that rebarb and whatnot, most of it is elements put together by man to create the rebar, the metal rods that they use for buildings. Same with steel. Steel is not a natural element. Steel is a combination of 2 or 3 different elements put through a fire to melt down the elements and then pour into a mold. Mold. How do you think they get those shapes? They pour molten hot metal into a mold to create the form. There's a lot of things out there that are not natural. They're not made by God. They might have been elements from God put together, but they're not the raw natural element. I'm not saying that it's bad, because I've got a lot of beautiful looking crystal and pewter and china and terracotta pots or urns, whatever you want to call them. They look great and whatnot, but thing is, where did the inspiration come from to create these various things that we use in our daily life nowadays? Do you think somebody just came along and said, oh, if we take this wire and this wire, put them together, twist them just right, and then put the other ends into wrap it around another piece of metal and stick it up in the air, and ooh, we've got electricity. Now, how can we harness that electricity without having to wait for a lightning storm? I believe that all that stuff was inspired by God. Look at some of the great artists of our time: Leonardo da Vinci, Van Gogh, Mozart. Where do you think all that stuff came from? They just started tinkering around, and all of a sudden, voila, there's the Mona Lisa. There's the, I don't know what it's called, but it's on one of the ceilings of a major church in Rome. Some of the creations from Da Vinci himself. He was literally called one of the fathers of modern day engineering. God has a way of giving mankind a spark of genius. It's how we take that spark and use it. Granted, during Leonardo's time, that whole region was under conflict. There was multiple different regions of what we now call Italy that was attacking each other, trying to gain control of the whole of Italy. And several of Da Vinci's inventions, like the turtle, I'll explain that one in a second, that was a weapon. Basically, it was a round-shaped, fortified, mobile artillery unit, because all around it was cannons, and it was operated by, I don't know how many people operated the cannons, but there's 4 people inside the turtle. That was basically the main form of mobility, because they were pumping a crank system that caused it to move forward, and if one side went opposite of the other side, it caused it to turn. And then you had the guys who were operating, at least two people per cannon, because back in those days you had to have one person or 2 people to pull the cannon into the hole, one person to basically put the gunpowder and the cannonball and do the ramming thing, and then the 2 of them would push it back, and then the other one, one of them would light the fuse and repeat the whole process until somebody told them to stop. It was an ingenious device, but it was, by the time he had it By the time he had a working prototype, the war was over. I mean, it was finally decided. Okay, we're united Italy. Who are we crowning the king of Italy or queen of Italy? History has a lot of weird stuff, but it's also kind of like, oh wow, so that's where that idea came from. Because the turtle became the tank, which became our modern day battle tank, like the Abrams. Or is it? No, not Abrams. Yeah, Abrams. The Adams is more of a armored personnel carrier with a gun system mounted, whether it's a gun or a rocket system mounted to the top. The Bible has shaped a lot of different things throughout the era, throughout the time, I should say. A lot of people want to say that the Bible is just a book of stories. Well, that could be said about that could be said about every religion out there that has written texts. It's a book of stories. The Quran, the Bible, I can't remember. Sorry, those are the only two I can remember off the top of my head for some reason. But I mean, so could the Havanah, the Eddas. The Havanah is supposed to be the book of wisdom passed down from Odin. The Eddas are supposed to be what we have left or what we have available to us about the history and character of the Norse people. The sagas. Those are three different books or titles of books, because there's multiple sagas and there's multiple Eddas. People could sit there and go, oh, those are stories about people who don't exist anymore. As for somebody who's been an avid reader since my late teens, I can say this much about the Bible. Yes, it's a lot of stories, a lot of information about people from the biblical era. But when you look into the New Testaments and cross-reference the New Testaments into the Old Testaments, because that's what it does, and that's what makes it kind of confusing for a lot of people to read, you'll start to realize that the Bible is, yes, a book of stories, but it's encoded with knowledge for living any era. You can literally use the Bible. You can literally use the Bible and look at it and read it. And if you read it and cross-reference the different verses, I have a men's study Bible up there. Looks like an NIV from here. It literally has a thing on the side where it says, it will give numbers next to verses or next to chapters, and over on the side it will you'll look for the corresponding number, and it will tell you go read Psalms or Deuteronomy or Kings or not Song of Songs, or it tells you to go back and read this particular passage in the Old Testament, and then you'll realize, whoa. So the Old Testament was already predicting the information in the New Testament, and the New Testament sometimes will tell you to go read Revelations, which is talking about what could happen as a sign of the apocalypse, the end of days. Just like the Norse people, the Norse end of days is called Ragnarok. It doesn't matter how you put it. Revelations, it literally is the book of, like, hey, look for these signs. Be wary of this. This is a warning. Look out for that. I think I might do some studies later on in the year, closer to the. I don't want to do it too close to the holidays. Maybe here in the next couple weeks or so, to look into Revelations, because Revelations, a lot of people don't like Revelations because it's like, oh no, that's scary information. It just talks about the end of the world. Well, if you've ever read Revelations and read through Revelations, you'll see towards the end of Revelations where it talks about a bright new future where we all live in harmony, and God the Father and Jesus and the Holy Ghost are our rulers, our chieftains, our president, whatever you want to call him. He is basically in charge of everything and actively in charge. Not just sitting on the wayside going, oh no, let's try to get you back in your place. No, he's literally like there. I mean, it talks about how everybody will live in harmony, everything will be peaceful and bright, and it paints a beautiful picture. And depending on how your mind works, like my mind, when I read the end of Revelations, I was like, okay, we won't have these dull, ugly, weird shaped houses. Everything will be crystalline and pure and shiny and bright, and there will be no sin and no wrongdoings and no judgmentality, and there will be none of this. And it's not like, I don't think I don't think it will be a non-free will type world, but we won't feel the need to sin. We won't feel the need to gossip. We won't feel the need to do anything wrong, because just the joy and purity of the energy of God the Father himself, there will be no desires to do anything wrong. That's the way I picture it. And this is one of the things I need to do, which I forget to do a lot, is to remind me of that picture, because in this day and time, it's like, ugh, I gotta deal with people who don't know me, don't like me, don't understand me, are judgmental, have opinions that just I don't agree with, or things of that nature. And it's like, no. You gotta remember, Jim, when you get up to heaven, or when heaven becomes the new earth, there won't be any of this. There won't be any wrongdoings or negativity or things of that nature. There'll just be the purity and joy of Jesus. That's what we're all working for, isn't it? I mean, that's the whole idea of being Christian, is working for the purity and joy of the kingdom of heaven. And I just looked at my timer and went, oh my goodness, it is almost 45 minutes worth of conversation. But anyhow, bottom line is, at least to me, the bottom line is, if we can learn to love one another as we love ourselves, if we can learn to actually live the way the Bible suggests or talks to us of how we should be living as Christians, I think we can make this. I think we can make Earth a whole lot better than what it is right now. I mean, there's too much judgmentalness. There's too much negativity. There's too much. I mean, there's too many people out there going, well, that's what the Bible says to you, but this is what the Bible says to me. Or, oh no, I'm a Christian, but I'm gonna turn around and judge you just because. Not the type of judgment Christians are supposed to do, which isn't really judgment in my brain. It's more like, hey brother, you're going about things the wrong way. You need to go back and read this Bible verse or that Bible verse, or you need to turn around and rethink your decisions or your lifestyle. Not to come at them like, hey, you're sinning, you're going to hell, blah, 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 blah. No. Because the Bible does say, gently guide. At least that's what I remember reading once upon a time. I don't know if it was the Bible or not, but I know it was a Christian book, We're not supposed to sit there and force anything. Jesus never forced. Jesus never made us choose. All he did was he told us his stories. He told us about the glory of kingdom. He told us about his Father and the love, the positive lifestyle, or the positive ideals, or just positive notions or suggestions or ideas or coaxing. He never came up to anybody and said, look, you're going to die if you don't follow me. He didn't do that. That was not the way it was meant to be. Forgive me if I forget your new. I think the person I'm talking about that helped me out the most, because he was very gentle about it, was his original moniker was Mailman. Then he changed his name to James and Family, or something like that. To me, he is literally an ideal Christian, because he came to me, expressed his concern for my statement of being pagan, but once I read what pagan meant, I was like, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, I don't do that. And he gave me multiple Bible verses to look at, and he was very gentle and very polite and concerned for my well-being and all the things that Christians should be. And between the Bible verses he gave me, plus the reading of what paganism meant, I was like, okay, I'm not really pagan, because I don't worship the other deities. I don't worship Odin or Thor or anybody like that. I will say, though, that even though my roots, was that distant thunder, or was that a plane? I don't know. But my roots are deeply set in Christianity. Yes, I do believe in, the power of crystals. I do believe the power of herbalism and natural medicines and cure-alls and whatnot, because I know that the herbalism works, because I've tried it and it works. I have better health using natural cure-alls than most medications that I get from doctors nowadays, because there's that chemical side effect, and my body hates artificial chemicals. And that's probably one of the reasons why I don't get drunk like like people think I should. The amount of alcohol I drank at one point in time should have had me passed out on the floor for days, but wake up the next day and I just feel right as rain. I just feel like, oh yeah, another day. Let's go on. What are we gonna do today? And people around me are going, oh my God, shut up! How is it you don't have a hangover? My body chemistry. All my life I've had. Well, it's kind of dissipating. I'm getting older, but I had what do the doctors call it? Hyperthyroid. Something to do with my metabolism was so hyper that, you know, certain kinds of medications, if they had certain kinds of side effects, would be really bad. Natural medicines would be really good. I don't get sick when I drink. I've never had a hangover, and there's been a couple times where I should have had a hangover and never did. I'm not saying that I'm a super person or have unnatural abilities or anything like that, but everything that we have, everything that we are, is God made. It is gifts from God. Now, it's already been proven by science. There are no two people identical. Even identical twins that look identical, on the chemical level, on the medical level are not always the same. Just like, let's take my in-laws for instance. My wife has cancer. She does have a diabetic classification. All her sisters have had cancer of one form or another, but never stage 4. But for instance, her sister, I'm just going to call her Al, she can't eat potatoes. My wife can. Al can eat white rice. Jerry has to have either a small amount of white rice or use rice cauliflower. They're sisters. Granted, they're going to have some differences in medical makeup as well as physical appearance, but they still have the same basic genetic patterns because they have the same parents. There's a lot of differences out there in the world. I mean, not everyone. I mean, just like snowflakes. You can have a billion snowflakes, maybe a trillion snowflakes fall during the wintertime, and none of those snowflakes are going to be identical in any situation, in any shape or form. Scientifically proven. Why science wanted to study the differences in shapes and designs of snowflakes is, beyond my understanding, but somebody decided, hey, let's do a scientific study on snowflakes. Are they the same or are they different? Oh, no, none of them are the same. But, anywho, bottom line, my bottom line, Christians are supposed to be loving, giving, concerned, caring people. You don't have to be another Christian, or you don't have to have another Christian in your midst to act differently. We should act the same towards each other no matter what. We should be loving and caring and nourishing in all the things that Jesus was to our ability towards everybody else. Doesn't matter their religious background, doesn't matter, origin story, doesn't matter ancestry, doesn't matter anything. We should be loving to each other no matter what. Which I know can be hard, and with today's modern day world, it's easier to go behind somebody's back and speak ill of them. I don't consider that proper. I've only spoken illy of certain people that pushed me over the edge, and even then I'm like, forgive me, Jesus, forgive me for speaking illy of these people. I don't know their background, I don't know their rhyme or reason, and I have no reason to speak ill of them. Not just because I don't know them fully, but it's just improper. But anyhow, before this gets way too long, because it's already into the 50s, I'm going to go ahead and do my farewell. So if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment box. I will deal with them. If you're not a member of my channel and choose to join for whatever reason, I do have a very wide variety of subjects that I talk about just because of my interests and my life. So if you choose to join, it's not just going to be Bible. There's going to be a lot of different stuff. But it is your choice. I'm sorry. I'm rambling because I'm going into that, I'm out of breath type stage. If you choose to join, there will be a little bell that pops up. Once you click on that bell, YouTube will put you in the list of who to be informed about my next video. Hey, but I will be around. Maybe not every day because of my work schedule and timing and all that fun stuff, but weekends I definitely have videos that come out. Weekdays, they may be videos that I pre-made and scheduled for whatever time of day I decide to schedule them. So for those who think, oh, he's doing videos in the middle of the week, is he still working? Yes, I am still working. But anyhow, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Bye.